So these Northwest Siders, packed into a high school gym, were ready to raise the roof for George Bush.
Precinct captain, patronage workers, many people that are coming on the Northwest and Southwest sides, but they fail to understand they don't have the people with them.
Republican Walter Dudich beat the Democratic organization 4 years ago. He was a police detective, but resigned to fulfill his campaign promise. The voters here in the 7th District are notorious for ticket splitting. 4 years ago, for example, they voted Republican for president, Democrat for Congress, Republican for state Senate, and then Democrat for State House of Representatives. In his 4 years in office, Dudich has tried to win support with driving lessons and bus trips for seniors to the state capitol.
He wants to return the politics on the Northwest side to the machine politics of the past, and that's not going to be accepted by the people.
For Democratic Senate leaders, the 7th District is a battleground for power.
Well, of course, the Northwest side has been running a little bit more and more Republican every election. This battle will be one of the key indications about whether this most recent fluke situation with voting was a fluke because of Ronald Reagan or a clear sign that Democratic power is eroding.
The Republican Party, which suffered another resounding defeat in Cook County, sees a few rays of hope, and it's trying to regroup for coming elections.
Walter Dudich has just been elected overwhelmingly to a second term as state senator from Chicago's Northwest side. Win.
We annihilated the Democratic Party on the Northwest side in our local races, both Roger McAuliffe and myself.
Whatever happens, Dudich thinks a Republican can win.
If Jane Byrne can win, if Harold Washington can win, anybody can win.
Tax hike revolting turned out at a tax revolt rally tonight. Hundreds of people packed the Northwest Side Meeting Hall while hundreds more waited in line outside. A local taxpayers group and State Senator Walter Dudich organized the rally. Northwest Side homeowners say they're hit hardest by the property tax increase. Some say their bills have gone up 300%.
We need the best in Congress, and Illinois can send the best by electing Walter Dudich. Walter's an ex-cop who's devoted his life to fighting crime and drugs, and he's a man of unquestioned integrity who shares our family values.
On the eve of the political filing deadline, Republican State Senator Walter Dudich says he is a candidate for the U.S. House of Representatives. Dudich will oppose 11th Congressional District incumbent Frank Annunzio. Today, he repeatedly blasted his opponent's voting record.
He has been voted by the National Taxpayers Union as one of the biggest spenders in Washington, D.C. I, on the other hand, last year, 1988, was voted by the Illinois arm of the National Taxpayers Union as the taxpayer's best friend.
Today, he'll introduce legislation this week aimed at preventing voter registration fraud. At a news conference today, State Senator Walter Dudich and Chicago Board of Elections Commissioner Raymond Jagelski said the legislation will prohibit deputy registrars from being paid for registering voters. They say the new law is needed to prevent the type of fraud first reported last month by Eyewitness News. One man allegedly duped the Chicago Voters Coalition out of more than $30,000 by turning in fraudulent voter registration sheets. Senator Dudich says he will introduce the bill in Springfield on Tuesday. He says fraud of this nature does little to create public confidence in the value of each person.
And Republican State Senator Walter Dudich is continuing his fight against election fraud. Dudich joined Chicago Board of Elections Commissioner Ray Jagelski at a news conference where they outlined legislation that would prohibit deputy registrars from being paid for registering voters. The move comes in the wake of alleged fraud during last month's primary.
This is an issue of taxpayers versus tax eaters.
Sponsors of the amendment have until May 4th to gather 250,000 valid signatures if they hope to get the proposal on the November ballot. And they're predicting success with or without political leaders like the governor on board.
We have 231,000 people that are with us so far. We believe that it's just a fraction of the sentiment out there, and we believe that a vast majority of the public support this issue.
This forum, and I'm Andy Shaw. Tomorrow, of course, the deadline for filing your state and local tax returns. So, in the spirit of the season, we'll be talking today about taxes, specifically a proposed amendment to the Illinois Constitution that would make it a lot harder for the state legislature to raise taxes.
That government, Andy, should not supplement its own budget at the expense of the family budget. One tax that Jim forgot to mention was that the the legislature also passed the 50% real estate transfer tax. So if you can't afford to live in your house because of higher taxes and you sell it, you still have to pay double your taxes in that too. Yes, we have proposed a constitutional amendment in the form of a Senate joint resolution also calling for the Tax Accountability Amendment. And I hope that it passes in the legislature. And if it doesn't, we hope that the Citizens Initiative does.